Perfect. Okay, so I it is 6 p.m. in Ethiopia, and it's 10 a.m. right now, I believe, in the Bahamas in Florida. Um, so it's exciting to have everyone on the call. I know some people will be jumping in as the session goes on, and then we'll also have the recording for everyone to review as we prepare for planning. So let's start with a round of introductions. Let's start with where you're located, what your institutional affiliation is, and then if you want to just kind of share what you've been working on. Um, just since we would have last tapped into the group, whether it's like building something, studying something, creating something, whatever it is. So, Chandler, why don't you start us off?
I'm Chandler with PlanetWerx and iCensus. And we are from Florida, obviously, Melbourne, Florida, specifically, which is East Coast. Um, it's cold here right now. It's been freezing lately, and we're not used to it. We are currently working on quite a few things. We're still working on all kinds of water quality sensing and things like that. But we're also working on more marine autonomy, so bigger boats that can drive themselves and do all kinds of different things. Um, yeah, I think we're developing our own autopilot system and our own user interface to do that with, and it's getting quite sophisticated as of the last year. So yeah, we've been working hard on that. And then this is Jessica.
Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm also affiliated with PlanetWerx. I'm the Chief Operating Officer in Florida. Um, and
Jessica,
I
we
work
can't
alongside
see
with
you.
Oh,
Yes,
Yeah.
it's awkward because the
I
microphone's like
I know.
over.
Thank you. Yeah, perfect. Please continue or
It's
start
okay.
again.
Um, oh, okay. I'm with PlanetWerx, and I work alongside with Chandler at iCensus. We're both in Florida. And I've been focusing on two different projects for PlanetWerx, the modular laboratory system and the mini version of the modular laboratory system, a little station. We call it Lab in the Bag. And that little bag is going to have a bunch of different sensors and a cool computer to like sync data to the cloud. It's going to be really cool. So that's what I've been working on.
Super. Okay. Brandon?
Yes. Oh, gosh. So good morning, everybody. My name is Brandon Bethel. I'm a physical oceanographer at University of Bahamas. Um, while I wish I would be designing, let's say, the ocean observation systems, that's not exactly my area of expertise, but I do rely very heavily on the data that they produce. Because of course I focus on ocean observations, numerical modeling and forecasting. And for the past few months, I've been working on an ocean thermal energy conversion system for the Bahamas, in addition to wind energy, tidal currents, wave energy, due to our power shortfalls here in the Bahamas. Thank you.
Guess who?
Hi, excuse me. Hi, my name is Katsalor Seifu. I'm in Ethiopia with Nikita. I'm actually her neighbor. Uh, and I'm a Pan-African journalist that has a TV and a radio show. Uh, yeah, I've been doing the radio for 18 years and the TV for 3. And I'm working on a new show actually going around Africa and capturing the heritage, the cultural heritage, musical, that is. So that's what I'm working on. Nice to meet you.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Super. And for recording purposes, my name's Nikita. I am with YME Bahamas and PlanetWerx, and right now based in Ethiopia. And I've been the sort of point of contact that's been connecting our dots of ocean love from the mountains to the coast and the island and beyond. So, with that being said, I want us to, because, and just in the event that other people join in, I want us to focus more on the tech now, especially since Brandon and Chandler and Jess are on the call together and we've been sort of talking, wanting to talk through some of this stuff. So let's start there. So maybe, do you guys want to give an overview of both the MLS and the mini MLS? And then just put it into context for potential applications, and then we will let that unflow.
You want to start? You want me to do it?
You could start. Go
Okay,
ahead.
so the modularity is key in anything technical. You can't scale or grow very well without modularity. So I think, the key word in this technology push is to make sure that everything we develop has some agnostics to the sensors we use, what brand we use, how it communicates out to the world. Who uses it, becomes a topic as well. We don't need um, qualified PhD scientists always to have to run sensors and collect data. We need to scale that down so that citizens can collect data and contribute, but with a fairly high reliability in the quality of the data. So our modular lab system is a cargo container, typically a 20-foot container that can house anything. It could have a laboratory setting, which includes desks and cabinets and some uh, laboratory equipment, centrifuge, pH sensors, any of those types of things that you would normally find in a wet lab or even an organics lab. That equipment, we're agnostic to what types of things you can put in there. We've been working primarily on aspects such as the power, communications, how we get that data out to the world, how we can interact with people of all types, from the PhD scientist all the way down to the community, and create an awareness. They can participate, things like that. So the modular lab system can also contain things like dive locker. We can house all of the accoutrement that would support diving activities, potentially agricultural activities, soil sampling, crop mitigation, understanding, how the health of the crop is doing, etc. And then in our mini or lab in a bag, it's effectively a Pelican case that has quite a bit of the same types of sensors. Certainly more portable than a cargo container, but it lays the same technical foundation as what you would find in the larger container system. So the type of software that we use to collect the data, how that software is presented to the user interface, how that is set up so that it's intuitive and easy for people to collect data or enter data. Some of the sensors in the lab in the bag are not digitally connected to any type of system. So there's manual data entry, which expands, again, from a traditional modular architecture. Being able to manually enter data is just as valuable as collecting data autonomously, because we don't know all of the different types of data that people want to enter, or types of observations and things like that. So as it stands right now, we're planning on having a clean user interface touchscreen, less typing, more touching, and that data can then be synchronized with assets in the cloud. So it would push to a cloud database. That's predominantly Jessica's project right now. That's what she's been working on, is trying to find the best framework and software architecture to make that happen so that we can maintain modularity and scalability. I'll pause there.
As well as open data accessibility, because that's the core of this project as well, is data accessibility and ease of looking at it and interpreting it as well.
Any questions or clarification you'd like on that?
I do have a question. Would you be able to provide a list of all of the equipment that goes into the container?
Well, we have ideas. I think the container will be set up, if you will, per location that it would be delivered to. So again, I think one of our first instances, if it is still Cat Island, it will go to Cat Island and be focused predominantly on agriculture support and some sensing capability in agriculture, as well as some maritime activities.
Then,
And go ahead, Brandon.
so I spoke to Nikita before in terms of putting it near the Orange Creek Hotel. You mentioned that there were some issues in terms of providing power to the structure. So the Orange Creek Hotel is next to Orange Creek, and there's a very large tidal flow there. My idea was that if you would have set it up there, then you can pull power from the tidal current provided to both the hotel and the mobile station. So you can actually knock two birds with one stone. You can demonstrate that the community directly benefits from the power that's being generated, but also you can now avoid having to draw power from the grid to support that device itself. What I think is important is that when we have these projects now, I know that BPL they have a focus on solar energy and LNG. But I'm not sure if they've outfitted a plan for Cat Islanders yet. But if you can demonstrate, of course, that Cat Island does not need to import LNG, and that your tidal currents would be near base load, so you wouldn't have to rely on very large batteries for the solar either. You may be able to get some really good attention that way in terms of, let's say, having stakeholders see the device as more than just a scientific curiosity. But how does this benefit me? You can demonstrate that way by putting it at Orange Creek and then pulling power from it in that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And as an additional resource, communications are something of import to most communities. Having a place where people can go interact with the internet in general, whether that's scientifically or for some other need. And then certainly in emergency response, we would be a resource there as well to have some power containment. Power is it's an open book, and again, because we are scaling per the use case, some equipment takes 240 volt AC, some only takes 110. In most instances, the lab equipment doesn't draw very much power unless it's a heated device or something like that. So we don't need a lot of power. The question is, should we rely solely on solar power or wind generated power or shore power that might be available? I think in our first versions, we're planning on putting a gasoline power generator in the station so that we have that option available to us at all times. And that generator could be used for anything the community needs, as far as I'm concerned. Does that make sense, Nikita? I think that falls within our current plans.
Yes, and so definitely speaking to the fact that each of the MLSs will be built out per community. So Brandon, how you can envision using the MLS is something that our team really wants to take into consideration as we're refining what the Cat Island model looks like. Also, I just want to introduce well, I'll let him introduce himself, but we just have Samuel from Uganda who's just joined. And this is actually a really good segue to just Samuel to give you just an update. Welcome. I'm so happy that you're here. We've just been hearing from the tech team that's been telling us a little bit about the modular laboratory systems and the applications. Dr. Brandon Bethel is in the Bahamas and it is looking at the specific kind of ocean-based current energy application of the modular laboratory system. And of course, we've talked about in Uganda, both from a water standpoint, water quality, but then also agriculture. And I think that a mini MLS will be immediately applicable within the Ugandan context. So maybe Samuel, do you want to introduce yourself, where you're from, and sort of like a little bit about what you do and what you've been working on? And then maybe your vision for the agricultural coffee side of the story.
Oh, thank you so much for such a warm welcome. Good afternoon, good evening from Uganda. My name is Samuel. Unfortunately, I can't put on camera where I am. It may not be very good, but I should be able to find a better place maybe in a couple of minutes to show camera. I am happy to be here and I look forward to the interaction. I come from Uganda and working with Green Life Foundation, a nonprofit organization working with local communities to do three things. One is climate action advocacy. Two is climate capacity building. And in climate capacity building, we train young professionals and local community members on how to adapt to climate change and mitigate using indigenous knowledge and local resources that are available to them. And farming comes in very handy. We use a lot of our indigenous knowledge to be able to focus the changing environment, but that has become very unpredictable, especially for local farmers who rely on rain-fed agriculture. And I think that's where we found an intersection with PlanetWerx because it builds the anticipatory action of local communities. Unlike the focus of PlanetWerx to be more hinged on ocean communities, Uganda has no ocean. We are a landlocked country, but we have lots of water bodies and many island communities. So I was trying to figure out, is there a possibility for us to even launch this within the highland communities because they live literally life of an isolated community of sort. And the focus is around perennial crops of coffee, but also the annual crops like cereals that are so dominant of our food value chain and exploitation purposes. The last thing is talking about in our organization, we also work on innovation for green jobs. And I think the tech that we are talking about is all about innovation, how to use internet to be able to influence agricultural decisions, how to read, to use technology to be able to prepare for changing weather conditions prior. And I'm looking forward for that. At the moment where we are at as Green Life, we are at the point where we are establishing a fundraising infrastructure, but also looking for partners that can be able to resource our innovation hub and be able to move forward. And I think one of the equipment we would look for is actually seeing that if we are able to work with PlanetWerx, part of the innovation would be bringing on board this laboratory to be able to be used by local communities. Looking forward to the group of school discussion. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Samuel, for giving that context. And I think this is where, especially the mini MLS is going to be like a really great tool for all our communities. And for both, especially and what's nice about in the agriculture sector is that it's a very clear translation to its application. And it is also in the ocean, but ocean is a bit more abstract for a lot of people, so the land, most people understand how land operates. Okay, so we have Hamzi with us now from Somalia. So Hamzi, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself, please. Everyone has just kind of been sharing who they are, where they're from, and what they've been working on. And then also, if you want to share the points of intersection with the group or school or the research that we're building out, through your community.
Thank you, Nikita and the team. I was on my way from the office to home, and I'm in a place where there's quite noisy. So I really apologize. Maybe you can give me some few minutes until I settle somewhere, and then I will catch up, please. So give me a few minutes, and then I'll get a good place to start.
Perfect, not a problem. So then maybe let's go back now to Jess and Chandler and just thinking about, do you want to walk us through the mini MLS, since I think that one is the most tangible and will be the product that we will share during the party. And then I think what would be nice, we have at least five, all of us here now can think about how we can see the MLS applied, the mini MLS applied in our community. So do you want me to share my screen so people can see the
Please.
doc?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
You're muted. Oh,
No,
you're not. No, you're not.
Just make sure I'm in the right one. Yes, I am.
Yeah, I'd like to talk about Lake Albert a little bit in Uganda. We actually had a project scheduled there to find an old shipwreck in the lake in Uganda, and so freshwater is well within our understanding as well. And so it doesn't just have to be, island seawater. It can certainly be any type of freshwater and agricultural irrigation possibility. I don't know how irrigation works in Uganda, but I'd love to learn. Yeah, so Jess, you want to
Yeah.
go ahead?
Sorry.
Go ahead,
Do you
Samuel.
want me to respond?
Yes,
Okay,
please.
great. Yeah, so our agriculture is divided in two major ways. One is commercial large-scale agriculture, where you find the plantations like tea, sugarcane growers, large-scale maize growers, and tree growers, large-scale. And then 80% of our agriculture, of our farmers are small-scale farmers. So irrigation has been very dominant in the large-scale farming, but of recent with the climate adaptation and mitigation programs, actually we are having what we call a 4-acre model and a 1-acre model, where smallholder farmers are encouraged to do modern farming using irrigation to be able, because being that Uganda has 2 rainy seasons and 2 dry seasons, literally after rainy season, vegetables and other things, they flood the market. So farmers get lower returns on revenue because almost everyone has something that they has food on the table, like fresh food. So how irrigation works now, it is actually being picked up. It is two-way. Like where I'm seated right now, we have dug a 100 feet well, and we are able to pump water to supply to over 20 households by just connecting irrigation pumps and be able to serve them. And the water is very fresh. It is water that can be used by plants, water that can be used of families. So that model seems to be picking up in the local communities, in the village communities. The only impediment at the moment could be the connectivity to the grid. So the option that is available at the moment is solar mini grids, but also standalone solar irrigation systems, which are actually very important for small communities, but also at a wider level. Small farmers are looking forward to that. And maybe if you do that irrigation, you also want to think about greenhouses for vegetable growing and cereals. So yeah, I think there's a big opportunity. I'll be glad to get in touch and looking forward to more interaction through this platform.
Do you know if any of that water is being monitored now for water quality, like pH
No.
no? Wow.
No, unfortunately, that is where, and I think that's where the conversation started when I was having the interaction with a group of people. We use a lot of what we used to know, and what we used to know seems not to be working now. So there is need for technology to be able to show us what is real. And I think that's where PlanetWerx and now these connections to, is it iSense Tech would be a very big opportunity to fit in. So right now that technology is not actually at scale. If it ever exists, it is within the large scale farmers.
So what type of people would would be using these systems? Would it be farmer, community? And does that person understand how the water quality variables affect their crop? Do they understand that, or do they need some education in that regard? Like how much education for the type of testing that they would be doing do we need to think about?
Yeah, yeah. So I think for any program for us to work, advocacy is key, and I think people don't actually mind. I have noticed that people even use what we call national water and sewage system water for irrigation, which has a lot of chlorine that is pumped in, and actually the crops don't do well. So yes, I think the first thing is education, awareness before any investment can be done. I think that will be very important, and maybe a baseline study of one, understanding, do people really understand that the water quality affects the agricultural output? Two, the willingness to adopt. If this technology, so you want also to assess what is their willingness to purchase or procure a technology that helps them to understand the pH of a particular water body and a particular water system. And I think this even goes beyond agriculture. I come from a village community which where you go over 90% of the households, they have tooth decay. And I think for me, part of it seems to be coming from the water that these families use for consumption and all these other things. Because there must be some chemicals, maybe the calcium, it could be maybe potassium, whichever way from the science perspective, that could be in excess that actually affects these communities. So I think that technology for me would really need to be, yeah, over. Oh, sorry. Yeah, so I think that will be a good one. But two things for me: awareness is key, but also I think for scaling the technology and for technology transfer to take place, there's need to do baseline assessment that will be very informative. Otherwise, this is a good conversation to continue with.
Yeah, and I'll have one follow-up question if you'll think about it as Jessica kind of describes the system we have right now, but think about whether you would rather have permanent installations of this type of equipment or mobile stations. And because sometimes the infrastructure, a solar panel and things like that is easier to set up if the system is going to stay there. Otherwise, we have to think about folding solar panels and portability and ruggedization and things like that. So from a technical perspective, kind of understanding it's really difficult for us to build a lab in a bag and then have it sit outside for 6 months. Because if it's meant to be used, over a weekend or over a 6 hour period versus being exposed to the elements for, a month at a time. So that changes how we would think about the engineering quite a bit. So go ahead, Jess, if you want to kind of describe what's in the box right now and what our plans are.
So this picture, this is just some of the components that I've been working with on the prototype. So that is going from left to right. That is the box, the Pelican case, or we're calling it. It's a Nanook hard shell case that we're designing to install everything inside of. Next to it is like a screen. It has like the Cooper School and some logos on it. But that is the digital screen that we plan on installing inside on the lid. So when you open the box, it's kind of like a computer. And then to the bottom, there is the weather station. It's the white looking device that's laying on its side. It's an ultrasonic weather station. So it measures wind direction, wind speed, and 10 other different weather parameters that I can't all list off the top of my head. There's some storage solutions and then a water quality probe that measures pH, temperature, electrical conductivity, salinity. And then the soil probe right there, a little bit unassuming probe with two sticks on it. It also measures pH, temperature, and moisture in the soil.
Very good. Yeah, so the aspect there is this will be a touch screen. I think we will have a keyboard, waterproof, fairly rugged keyboard that is easily accessible to enter data manually. The two devices on the right-hand side, the pH and the soil meter, are not connected devices. They're not. They're manual data entry, so you would read the numbers off of the device and then need to type it in. we're trying to find ways to minimize human error in that translation from reading the screen and typing it into the database. There's certainly values that are in scope, where in the database we can analyze, okay, this value is way outside of our normal measurements in this area. The box will also have some geolocationing capability, so we'll have a GPS in it, and then we're deciding on the communications right now. And one of the major aspects that we're fighting is cellular is not always cellular. You can have cellular on your phone and watch YouTube. The type of cellular that we could use in this box is not going to have streaming access to the internet, unfortunately. But it would be able to send packet data out from almost anywhere in the world to the database. And so once a record is collected in the box, it can then be transmitted, if you will, out to the internet and into the database. Conversely, the system will also have some Wi-Fi connectivity so that if you take it back to, an internet resource where there's Wi-Fi or some other internet connectivity, it will automatically connect and push all of its data and synchronize it with the database on the server. So we have 2 or 3 different pathways for communication. Again, if we're thinking about very mobile installation or a very static installation, some of those static installations can have more resource there for the community if that's a direction we need to go. A la communications, we could certainly create a little Wi-Fi hotspot if that helps the community and if it's in a location that matters. Nikita, do you have anything to add to that?
Perfect. Sorry. No, that was a really great summary. Thank you so much. So, Hamdi, are you in a spot where you can communicate? If so, feel free to unmute your mic. Otherwise, we'll move on. But what is great about the Grouper School application? Sorry, Samuel, did you want to say something?
Yes, I did. Thank you, Nikita.
Please.
I wanted to really confirm. I know it was a question that is to think about, but the kit that we see here, so does it have a rechargeable battery? Is it immovable, or it's going to be mobile?
It does have a power.
Yes.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jess.
Yes, we are designing it to have a rechargeable battery inside of it so that you could take it out for field use.
And we're planning, or I should say, we've considered including I think it's a 10-watt solar panel to recharge itself. If you have that resource, and if it is a little power bank inside the unit, you could also charge your cell phone or something else. There's other resource. Once we have some power in the unit, then it can be used a lot of different ways. We're definitely trying to make it so that you could charge it with USB, charge it with a solar panel, charge it with a generator. We'll have all of those different accoutrements inside the unit as much as we can.
Okay. Now this is an amazing technology, Nikita, and I think once we are ready to roll it out with green light, we need to even have a government endorsement, get them on board. They would really appreciate this kind of initiative. And I think from the side of the group of school, I see if in Uganda, if this comes, it is going to be required to be scaled up. I don't know the readiness of the prototype to be scaled up in terms of if we got one kit, for example, and it really works well, we pilot it very well and it works. What would be the readiness to scale it up? If one wanted to invest in it, what would happen then? Thank you.
I can answer that, Nikita, if you like. Yeah. So again, because we have this very modular, we use modular, the term all the time, but it is the key operational, in our thought process. So because we're modular, we're very scalable in both capacity for new features and things like that, but also in production manufacturability. anything that we have that we prototype is ready for quantity manufacture by a third party. So we could go to contract manufacturing. If you're talking 100 units this year, we would build them internally. And I think, you know, our quantity, we're not very limited. I think it's finances would be the largest limitation in producing 100 units. But I would dare say that we could produce 100 units within 6 months if we needed to internally. If we're talking 1,000 units, we would probably go out with some type of contract manufacturing to increase the reliability in the product. We'd start doing a little more customization. We'd start doing a little bit more refinement on how the sensors work. We would digitize the sensors and make them feed into the system versus manual entry. So there's some growth potential that we're looking at already. The software and the database is freely scalable to infinity. So we don't have a lot of limitation on how the software works or that it would be outdated in 6 months or anything like that. We're writing our software on a very industrial device mentality. So I hope that helps answer the question.
Yes, that's a good one, and I look forward to having this go ahead and support it to the very best. Thank you.
Yes,
This is excellent. Oh, Hamzi, perfect. Please.
I can now talk, I think, yeah. Hello.
Go ahead.
Yeah, hello. I hope you can hear me now.
Yes, very well.
Yes. Yeah, sure. My name is Hamdi Hassan. Represent Somali Integrated Fisheries and Forest Organization. It's a national NGO based in Somalia. We are focused on fisheries, marine environment, and coastal community development in Somalia. We normally work around a number of thematic areas, including fisheries development, that includes, supporting small-scale fishery, improving fishing methods, promoting sustainable fishing practices, and value chain development from catching, storage, processing, and marketing, etc. Under that theme. And then we also work on livelihood support theme, which includes income generating activities for coastal families, alternative livelihoods to reduce overfishing, youth and women economic empowerment programs. The third aspect or thematic area we work, as our name suggests, environmental protection, which include, marine conservation and awareness, protection of coastal ecosystem, and climate resilience initiative for coastal communities. With particular regard to the group of school, we have a proposed project which was around the Ocean Science Capacity Development Program, which we proposed together with Nikita and another company. It's a national capacity building and technology transfer program that's designed to establish permanent Somali-owned system for ocean observation, climate monitoring, fisheries science, climate smart agriculture, and marine technology training. It's initial stage of proposal, but we are working to get some of the equipment and establishing bases in Kismayo and Bosaso. We have identified Kismayo and Bosaso as the hub, as they are along the main coastal lines of both Indian Ocean and the Gulf of Aden. So the hub will operate under the leadership of the group of school and CIFO, Somali Integrated Fisheries Organization. It's kind of physical infrastructure, which will include community science and data center, like maybe classrooms and training practice space, data visualization room, computer lab, server and cloud connected storage, modular mobile laboratory, container-based laboratory equipped for water quality testing, fisheries sampling and biological analysis, soil and agricultural testing, and environmental monitoring. And also coastal field monitoring stations, which include, monitoring sea surface temperature, pH, dissolved oxygen, salinity, harmful algae. And the fourth aspect will be climate agricultural monitoring sites, which include soil moisture sensors, weather stations, rainfall gauges, and so on. So the project is planned to operate in step by step, which include technology deployment, like ocean buoys sensors, which will be installed offshore, coastal monitoring stations deployed also, also deployment of agriculture sensors in farms, and so on. And then the other aspect of operation will be training and certification, which include, local participants, which will be trained as community scientists, technology custodians, and, marine monitoring and technicians. Their training might include equipment operation, data collection protocols, basic oceanography and climate science, and digital data management. Yeah, that's it's still in initial stage, and we are talking to a company who are going to provide the equipment, the technology equipment. Yeah, that's it from our side. Over to you, maybe unless there are questions.
Hamzi, that was a wonderful summary. Thank you so much. I see Brandon has his hand up. So just, yeah, Brandon, please go ahead.
Yes, good afternoon. I was listening very intently, and I actually have a high interest in assisting with the work that you have to do there. And so, if you do need an oceanographer, you can invite me over, and I would really enjoy, let's say maybe if the summer is possible, to come over and help to set up and evaluate all of these systems here. That's something that, because of the limitations here in the Bahamas, it is very, very slow to do here. But if we can show proof of concept elsewhere, then hopefully the government will see, what you are doing over there, get jealous, and then want the same for here. So please, I really would appreciate if you can invite me over to do what you've just described, because that's exactly what we need here as well.
Brandon, I think you're starting to understand the math of why I'm on this side. But yes, so you were in my head in all of this because exactly as you said, what we're doing in Somalia is exactly what we need to be done at home. And so this is sort of the vision of the grouper school is that there's a very early, simple entry point for all peoples. You can just show up to the party, but the deeper that you dive with the educational material and interest per our global classrooms. This is now when we really get to refine projects. And the goal, and I love that Samuel, you also mentioned it, the goal is that we want it to be fully integrated. So we want the community, we want the governments, we want the civil society, we want this entire system functioning. And the strength comes is when the community brings, when this comes up from the community has the capacity. And so this is what, both the modular laboratory system and the lab in the bag really helps to create. And I can see the light bulbs turning on for each of you in just sort of this simple presentation of the modular laboratory system and how it can be applied in your context, and then truly the scalability of it. So, Brandon, as we think through, so we'll bring you into that. That is like it's a whole web of we're all kind of connected, and where there are spaces for us to replicate the research, we do that, right? And that's why. So the initial conversations we had with that tech company that you had previously spoke to is specifically for the Somalia project. And that's why it was interesting to know that you had communicated with them previously for the Bahamas. So it would be worth having a systems thinking approach and how we look at and build out this specific the ocean observation model.
My question is, if funding becomes available to make a trip for, let's say, this summer, is there, let's say, places for me to stay or whatever, get a hotel or something? Like, is there some facility I can stay on?
Yeah, so I think what we would do with CFO is we would try because also there's visas and so we've been planning a trip to some Somalia for a while now, and so I think this we're about getting close to the time for it to be actioned. So yes, accommodations and logistics are all possible. We just want to make sure that when we do this trip that it's very strategic. Um, so that we have communicated with all the governmental parties who need to be involved, and the local nonprofits and the community, so that it's a strategic process. Samuel, please go ahead.
I feel like I need a. How do I grab it's the same opportunity in Uganda?
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Nikita. No, just pulling your leg. You don't have to really
Mhm.
commit, but it would be impressive to also have a team here, and we could do some organization. I know we need to catch up again and be quick on a lot of speed. But yeah, sounds interesting, and I feel like no, we shouldn't miss out. How do we grab an opportunity? But whenever.
But I mean, this is what this ecosystem, this is what the grouper school is all about. It's about bringing us together, helping us understand our realities in contrast, and then equipping our communities with what we need to make things happen. So this is the exact type of conversation that we're building and we want to see. So I want to be respectful for everyone's time because it is kind of the meeting is kind of moving on. So what we do need to do, I'm going to pivot slightly from tech and into party logistics. So right now, each community hub, everyone who wants to be a learning center and a data center, um, they need to. So if you haven't yet, you have to complete the form in it's in the WhatsApp group, the form that describes your community. And we have said we're just getting started. So we want to and we want to keep this low stress. We want this to be fun and we want to have a good time and like a successful hoorah, we did this. And so with that being said, I really want you to be realistic about the type of party that we're able to like host and who's going to be there. The Somali team, so if we go just to show you here. So this is the form that you need to fill out, the responses. We've got the two communities in Somalia. The communities, we've got the Bajuni Islands and the Somalia Coastal Society. And then organizations, the Bajuni and Coastal Community, and then SIFO, which Hamzi is with us here. Yeah, so it's just basic information. So venue, we're looking at one being a private residence, the other being a community center. So you can set up your party really however you want. It could be at the university, it could be anyhow. Time zone. So the party starts at 10 a.m. in the West, so Bahamas, Florida, 6 p.m. East Africa, and somewhere in between for everyone else. Again, right now the current parties are expecting 11 to 25 people. And hybrid participation. And so in one of the locations, there's stable internet, one of them, it's moderate. And then just pretty much making sure everyone has the tech that they need. And then we go on to, because the party is essentially our learning nugget. So we're just dropping areas of interest for the participants. And then there's the call to action at the end of the party where participants then go down one or many of the learning paths. Obviously, for each of our communities, this is where we're going to refine exactly what that learning pathway is going to be, especially for the pathways that are tied to the data collection. So looking right now, everything that's in the vision for this year is to ensure that each of these communities on this call get one of the mini modular laboratory systems. So we're going to have to source the funds for that to make that happen. But I'd like to see that happen at least this year. And then if not, get larger funding like Samuel spoke to really be able to do this at scale. And it will take tweaking from each community to to refine what it looks like. But the whole point is we're going to gather with our communities. We will share each of you will have a different role. So for example, talking about the MLS or talking about so Brandon, your section is really looking at the application of the currents, the current energy, and sort of talking about that. Everyone's segment is only 5 minutes, so it's super, super short. If we go here, let me show you. The program is jam-packed, but again, it is a party. So in each of the hybrid locations, there will be tables and paint, right? So people are encouraged to paint throughout the entire event. It's important that we have two-way sound communication if you are speaking, if you're someone who's speaking. So we start off sort of very slow and calm and then build. So the begana it's an ancient musical instrument, it's the harp of David. It's from Ethiopia and it is used for sound healing. So we'll start with 5 minutes of that. It's a very deep vibrational historical instrument. And then we have a colleague who creates sound for plants, music for plants for them to grow. And he does these really interesting like sound plant experiences. So we'll have 5 minutes of that, followed by Heron, who will guide us in a yoga flow. So then we bring on, so our DJ, I know she's been pretty silent this whole time because we've kind of been in the science talk, but Katsela Work is one of our DJs. And so we'll have 5 minutes of dance and movement, followed by, ideally, we will get a keynote address from the Prime Minister of the Bahamas. I'm going to make that request, specifically because he was here recently in Ethiopia. So members in our Ethiopian community would have met him. He's been very active in the climate space. And so I think it could be a good way to sort of bring this community together. If it's not him, we'll find someone else. Who is able to deliver the remarks. And then the party really starts. And I'll do the sort of the party plan and the painting prompt. And then the history theme for this season is the victory of Adwa. The Battle of Adwa was when Ethiopia was victorious over the Italians. So there was an Italian invasion in Ethiopia just through the same time where all the colonization was happening everywhere else. All the other countries were not victorious, but Ethiopia was. And so that's one of the history pieces that we'll be sharing, which is a very interesting story. We move on to our Rosetta Stone. So important. We need to have a translator for each of the languages. So right now we have Amharic, Somali, Ganda. That's what we have on the call in English. So for each of those language speakers, in this table that we're looking at, there is a perfect Somali on top of it, Hamdi. Good job, thank you. And then, and if your language is not there, then add it. And if we know who the translator is, because what we're going to do is make sure within our Zoom function that there is the live translation. So if you want, depending on your community, it's important for us that even though Brandon is speaking in English, that your entire community gets to understand what Brandon has to say, and so on and so forth. And then also for our Rosetta Stone, we are going to come up with a sentence or a saying that we will translate into all the languages, and that will be, for example, one of the assignments. If you want to learn one of the languages as one of your like actions that for the group or school, you know, that will be one of the pathways. So exactly what that shared sentence is, I don't know. If anyone has ideas of quotes, then please suggest. We have a musical feature that is still to be confirmed, but there will be a musical feature. We'll just exactly confirm the performer, but right now we're hoping it will be Alua, who's an Egyptian Ethiopian performer based in the UK. So she's really cool, and it would be amazing to have her involved in the program. Then we move on to the rural rain catchers. So what's cool is that it's beautiful to see the growth. We started with 2 rain gauges in Cat Island. BPL, which is the Bahamas Power and Light electrical truck, ran over one of our rain gauges twice. So that one is now down for good. But the one in Orange Creek is still there, and beautiful Cherie, our community scientist, has been manually logging data every day for the rainfall. So we have rainfall data for Orange Creek for almost like 2, maybe going on 3 years now, which is lovely. Um, and then Chandler and Jess went to the University of the Bahamas in Grand Bahama and installed a weather station there. And from what I understand, she's still logging. So we have that. I spoke briefly with Dr. Anwala from the University of Bahamas, and I'm going to connect with her next week to try and sort of streamline all of this together for the Royal Raincatchers narrative. But obviously, the weather station and the rain gauge in the lab in the bag are tied to the Royal Raincatchers program. And the idea what this specifically does is addressing data gaps in our understanding in both weather systems and rainfall. Ideally, we're going to add hundreds, thousands of data points, right? Is where we really need to get to. But we start 111. So we're growing. And so once we get our lab in the bag to everyone here, that will be huge because we'll now have all those points to add to our collection. So as we speak about data, we are going to set up a monthly webinar series that will enable us to really have a deep dive conversation around the different aspects of data, because it's really important that we understand both it, like the ethical management of it, metadata and how that works and why that's so important, how it's being monetized, where there's opportunities, and or I think it's really important for our communities to be able to call out when the data is not real, because there's a lot of predatory carbon market like hustlers out there trying to like give you money for a little bit of projects. It's not real. But if communities can't really articulate what is what, or can't call out the like, you're blowing smoke right now, like that's a big problem. So for me, that's one of the things that I want us to be able to do with a lot of these tools, especially like in the Bahamas. The whole seagrass carbon sequestration conversation is a big thing in the ocean space now. And I just think that communities need to be able to advocate for themselves. And right now, they're not fully equipped to do that. So, carrying on quickly. So then we'll go to the lab in the bag. So Jess, that will be our feature, that will demonstrate that. Then we go on to questions that inspire solutions. So Brandon, this segment's going to be yours, and it's very open-ended, but again, it's just a question that is inspiring a solution as it relates to how you're going to apply either the MLS tech or the mini lab in a bag tech. Um, So welcoming Mohammed, who's also just recently joined us, also from Somalia. So wonderful to have you on the call. Um, so what debris surround? Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Nikita. Thank you. I was just sorry for I was just joining for late, so I was just heading to way to home. Actually, I'm reaching right now. Yeah, I just for yeah, I think so. We have been talking about this issue since the beginning of 2 years back. For initially, in order to streamline our activities and all the data or all streamline any other related these activities, whatever it is. I appreciate for your commitment and also all the effort that you've done. So I've seen that I've seen Jessica here also. So let us proceed. Yeah, maybe I will contribute later.
Okay, you broke up a little bit there, Mohammed. I think maybe as you're arriving home, the internet's gotten a bit funny. But thank you for joining us, and I'm happy that you got home safely. So the what debris surrounds me is a very low level research question that can be participated in globally. And we're still sort of figuring out exactly what this will look like, but the initial idea would be that the participants in this section may take pictures of the garbage that is in their neighborhood. You know, that's geolocated in some way that this enables us to capture and document, like describe the garbage, what we have in these areas, so on and so forth. So again, this is more of like a baseline understanding of whether it's marine debris or it is, you know, just garbage that's in the mountains or by the lake. We just want to understand that, and then once we get that baseline of, you know, so this of the garbage distribution, then we can start asking ourselves questions about answer, like how we resolve that. So remembering that the grouper school is an intergenerational classroom and remembering that we will have participants from different ages, you know, this is one of the, I think, the easier, lower hanging fruit activities, especially if we're able to gamify it, which is what the initial intent was, to then make it easy and fun for people to participate in. So we move on then to DJ number 2, which is another 5-minute dance segment. Then we have a spoken word poetry segment. Our global community is going to be actually a really important segment, and I don't know who's going to lead it. And it's possibly it has to be a GIS specialist. Specifically, there's one person here in Ethiopia that I'm supposed to follow up with as a potential for that segment. And if not, then maybe we'll bounce to another region. But one of our schools, one of our partner schools here in Addis Ababa, sorry. They So I will drop in our WhatsApp group a report that was put together after we visited the school. And the school is severely under-resourced in so many ways, like no lights, no like 3 children to a bench, like seat. It's just like it's just not okay. So, and in one of the conversations with the students and the teachers, one of the students said something that really struck me. And she said, you know, if we don't have internet at school and we don't have internet at home, and our teacher tells us that Brazil is in South America and we don't have a map, how do we know where Brazil is? And I was like, you know what? Fair. Like, I can't be mad at you. And so our global community is supposed to be the baseline for us building a map of our global community, and sort of the visualization platform where each of our global hubs are located. But also, it's going to be an educational tool for these children at the school to help them understand geography and where everyone is and where the world is and where they are in relation to the world. So, really trying to help, and this is a K through 12. So, this is a big school, about 2,000 students, I think, total. So that's that one. And then we go on to a community of farmers. So what I was thinking this segment would look like would be a minute clip from our different farm communities introducing themselves. So someone from Uganda, one of the farmers from the Bahamas, if there's a farmer from Somalia, we've got the Ethiopian farmer. And just being able to do, if they could make a little video that shows their farm, themselves, their community, just to contextualize, keep it very short. That way we can start to introduce the farms. And the videos are important because, islands like the Bahamas, I don't think even many of our people realize that other countries, like, I have soil. Like, we don't really have soil in the Bahamas, like what we call soil isn't actually what other people call soil. And so that type of contrast, I think, is really important for our different farmers and community members to start to understand. Um, our last segment is Ethio Jazz performance and a cultural performance. And then it's our collective action, call to action, which is essentially, okay, you guys have had fun. You hopefully walking away learning one thing. And then what are you going to commit to for the next 3 months? Right. And then we make that commitment. And so whatever it is, and then we go on and do our data collection or advance until we have our next party. And what we will do, then we'll close out with our third DJ session. And then we go into breakout groups. So if people want to, if they've been in the online space, they want to go and talk, we'll create breakout groups for them. Otherwise, if you're in a physical party, then you just party on. And then that's it until another aggregation in 3 months' time. And then, so what has to be done in support of all of this? I have been building out a structure of the curriculum. I am watching the time. I've been building out a structure of the curriculum. And so for each of this, we will have supporting material, references, things that people can watch on YouTube, books that people can read, articles to download, so it's kind of like a self-study guide for each of the tracks, whether it's a history of Adwa, learning Amharic, or setting up a weather station from the lab in the bag. Okay, so I'm going to pause there and just open the floor for questions and reflection before we sort of wrap the call. And maybe what we do, let's let everyone just go around mute your mic and then just share your reflections from the conversation we've had and what you think are the priority next steps within your specific community. And then any other thoughts you have. Do I need to tap someone?
Sorry, I'll go ahead. I do have to step out in a minute. But for me, I did get a very comprehensive view as to the activities for the coming year. What I'm actually really most interested in was with is it Hamdi from Somalia? What's the name? Yes, that work he's doing there with the fishermen, and of course working Carolyn with the MLS. So I think the next steps would be to get maybe a deeper understanding of the MLS systems, but also let's say the logistics in terms of what's happening in Somalia. I would like to see all that he described, come to fruition at least to start off this summer. So I'm not sure if he's available in let's say maybe June or July. But maybe a 2, 3 week trip would be, really good to get started. And then in the fall, maybe in our winter, we can, do something else. And then the summer after that. So I'm really interested in getting started as soon as possible.
I love it. I love the energy. Let me ask you something, Brandon. What's the possibility of us having an event at UB on the 28th, even if it's just like in a classroom?
I mean, February 28th.
Yes, for our upcoming event.
I don't think if it's a classroom, it should be fine. We have to make sure that the classroom is available at that time because, of course, the semester is still ongoing. It may actually be the midterm break. So if it is, then it should be more or less fine. But a conversation could be had. But once it's not, let's say the auditorium in the library, it should be okay.
Okay, can I ask you to try and figure out, coordinate what logistics might look like for something like that? And then
Yeah,
just
please give me a reminder on Monday.
Okay, and the caveat is I would love to supply the university party with paint, but me and university have gone toe to toe over paint. So you just want to make sure that it's a space that they're okay with people painting in. And if not, then maybe we just give them pencil crayons. But
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, just please send a reminder and I'll take care of it. But I do have to step out now. A nice meeting you all. I will see you all for the next meeting.
brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Brandon. Have a good day.
You too.
Okay, excellent. Next.
Yeah, yes, Nikita, maybe just to ask, what could support look like from your end in terms of logistics? So that I could be able to have a picture and then maybe see how viable it could be maybe and where we can host.
Okay, so realistically, what I'm hoping to be able to provide, and I have a heavy lift to do, but about 1,000 US dollars for our communities. Obviously, I know in different communities, 1,000 does way more and way less depending on where you are. But I think that is roughly what we can play with. I have to. By Monday, hopefully I'll have communication and have an understanding of what I can commit to because I'm waiting on my funding to arrive. So, and the funding must come because it makes all of this possible. So we're working on that, but that is roughly what I've been thinking about as a potential working party budget for our global classrooms. Um, assuming systems go in time. Um, and if money delays, then maybe so it's like one or two things. We either carry on just in the smallest capacity that we do, or if money delays, then we may have to push it back for a week or two. But hopefully that's not going to be the case. But that's what 1,000 US dollars is what I would have each community kind of work their budget around. Does that help, Samuel?
Oh yes, oh yes, it does. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe Samuel, do you want to maybe continue, go on then from there about your reflections and next steps, what's required?
Oh yeah. Maybe yeah. For now, I think visualizing this program will be key for us. Uh, Getting the notes or the support material will also be very key, so that we can be able to circulate it to the communities very fast, and they are
Mhm.
able to go through them. I think maybe also identifying the area. Now, for me, it's a group of farmers, but also you want to put in an element of the fishing communities. I like the Somali gentleman who spoke about the fishing communities. I think that could be a very good addition. And now, yeah, so I think once we have those two, we could be able to do a quick community roundup and maybe now planning the actual venue for a group of schools, which in this case I think will be in Jinja. I don't know whether it will be in Jinja, on the side of Boyukwe district. Yeah, it's near it's actually on the shores of Lake Victoria. So yeah, so we would see how to figure out. We hope the budget comes, and once the budget comes, I think we can sufficiently try to fix in within that.
Okay. Wonderful.
Thank you.
And so what I commit to, like, so I will work individually with each global hub to refine local logistics and tailor things as we need to. So we'll be in communication. Okay, shall we go to, maybe let's go to PlanetWerx. You've been beautifully silent and present.
Hello, I'm back. My world and your world are so different, but so fascinating. It's been quite. I've heard so much about it that hearing it from you two experts, Jessica and Brandon, I believe, is actually nice to actually put the faces that are actually doing this amazing job. And my world is so artistic and creative. It's more on the music, culture, and dancing around. So I will be making you guys move. So pleasure meeting.
Oh, did we just lose her?
Yeah, my daughter's calling. Sorry, but I'm back. I declined her.
Beautiful. And so, and I think, guess what, this is why it's so important. The role of music and culture in this is that this is super technical. And those of us who are in these spaces are so deep in the weeds of it that we are not aware of all the biases that we have when we come into conversation. And so there's like a lot of gaps that exist, especially when we're talking with communities. So the role of the music, the movement, the culture is the heartbeat of the grouper school because this is what keeps people around long enough so we can talk to them about why the science is important. Really. Do you want to share a little bit about Trinity or Shashamani since right now you are our Ethiopian representative?
Trinity or Shashamene. Actually, when you were talking about the Trinity School, that is actually a very sad vision. Mm. It would be nice to support these kids, especially when we found all those kids that were so interested in that world and their ability to actually tap into it, whether it's through the computer, network, lights, all those issues that we all have out here in this world. So it's a beautiful thing that you're doing for that school. Now, Shashamene, on the other hand, is a whole other world. Whole other world. It's a beautiful farm. It's the whole city is actually, I could say it's a farmland, really. The weather is also a little bit different from the capital city. The people are also a little bit different because there's not so much stress. They're more relaxed. But the Shashamene, the farm, oh my God. I mean, wait till you see that farm and what a guy is actually doing for the community is so much so amazing that he needs to be known even within our city here in Addis. We don't know him here. I had to go meet him in Shashamane, and I feel like all of his products should be actually be selling out here in the city too.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a good one. That party's gonna be good.
It's lovely. Thank you for those contributions.
You're
All right.
welcome.
Who's next? Hamdi, shall we go back to you?
Yeah, thank you. I've been listening all throughout, and I'm happy that I'm part of this team. The group at school, I'm now forming part of global group, part of group at school. I'm really looking forward to this event, and it's the first event of its kind. We'll participate as people from Somalia. We're very happy. We have a lot of energy, so we're waiting. We'll also be in touch in terms of logistics and any part that we should take care of. We are ready, especially in terms of presentation of the debris and the pollution that you mentioned. Yeah. Once we get the final aspects of the logistic, we will finalize the arrangements from our side, and that's it, I think. Yeah. Looking forward to meet diverse people around the globe, and hopefully we'll have more time together. And it was lovely to hear your contribution. We really appreciate your voice. Over to you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hamdi. Mohammed, let's keep it in the region.
Yeah, Nikita. Thank you. Nikita, I very much appreciate to having a partner with a group school for different organization with different countries. That's what we are dreaming for the long time, actually. Indeed, when it comes to the logistics, many people are mentioned here. Yes. Okay. For example, you say you have amount or $1,000 to contribute to that events or to organize some small events of communities, cultural, community dancing, how this community they believe this dancing group, how long has been starting this dance, who is a founder of this community. As I speak before for this program, we want to focus about our community in those islands, in Bajun Islands. Actually, the small islands area is very accessible by boat, but there's no any air or vehicles. Actually, we can organize some events for the traditional basis. But we hope so. But let's look forward for in terms of the logistics. That was, the major challenges actually we have as as we are experienced is logistic support in terms of the support of finance or any other aspects. Yes, we want to document all we have done in the field, either it's a dancing or culturing or theatre. But also we want to, having that something to be consistently continue, not only for that event we organize for the group, school, and partners, but also community themselves to continue to exercise for the cultural, in terms of the peace, in terms of the conservation, cultural. So people let's make a practice for school and partners they will start, but community for this program in terms of, based on their context, based on the to you. Nikita.
Yes.
Yeah, over to you. Are you hear me?
Yes, thank you. It was we missed a bit of it, but yes, we got, I think, the most of it. So thank you for those contributions. Okay, Florida. Let's tap into Florida. Chandler, that's you?
Jess
Or
is
Jeff?
here. Her phone died or whatever.
Yeah, my phone
Um,
died. Sorry.
No, I'm super excited to learn everyone's culture. I find it fascinating, and I feel like I have a lot to learn from your communities, and hopefully learn some of the challenges and create some technical solutions to try to mitigate some of those challenges, make life better for all of us. Yeah, what do you have to say, Jess?
Yeah, my big goal for this upcoming Gripper School party is to have a working prototype of the mini lab in the bag. So that's a huge thing, and I'm trying to work towards.
You'll get there.
Yeah,
We'll help
hopefully.
you.
So then I can demonstrate some of the technologies and connect people with like the cool weather station and the water quality data and display some of that so that we can start talking about it and seeing it.
Excellent. So thank you everyone for your time, for your ideas, for your reflections. You know, this has been a slow burn. We've been working on this for a number of years, and we've like been pushing. So it's very exciting to see our next global party happening, and that we have tech that we have already implemented in the field, but then now that we're going to level up into something that really becomes this useful tool for our communities. So, with that being said, next week I will try and meet with each of you, each of our country heads individually, so we can refine logistics for the local community party and what we need. And then also just to refine the research application that you think that is a priority for the community and start thinking about that as well. Um, and we'll just keep the communication flowing in the group. I'll put this will be a YouTube recording, so everyone else in the team will be able to watch it, and we'll just keep pushing one wave at a time. You know, it's like huge progress. It's really inspiring to see the communities connect. And then, like, I think my highlight of today's call was Brandon's excitement when he was hearing what Hamdi and Sifo and team have been building out on that side and eagerness to engage, and then Samuel jumping on board because this is the heart of the grouper school. It's for us to like expand our understanding of things and help each other in improving the quality of life for our communities. So, with that, I'm going to seal this meeting out. Thank you so much, everyone, for your time today, and we will continue the communication. Please feel free to add to the grouper school. I'm going to add another link in the table that says the curriculum table that says resources. So, for example, if there are language books or language videos or YouTube videos or podcasts or anything related to your specific subject matter or about your country that you want to share with our global community, you can start adding the links and resources in that segment, in that section. So with that, thank you so much for your time, and we will talk soon. Alrighty, bye.
Thank you, Nikita.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Thank you, Nikita.
Thank you. Bye bye.